my friends, welcome to a very cozy autumnal book haul. If you are anything like me, I go crazy during the fall season when it comes to books. There are so many spooky themed books, cozy themed books, fall themed books, and I just can't help myself. Literally every year fall comes around, I just can't help it. Today I have 13 books that I've accumulated over the past few weeks that I just wanted to share with you all. Maybe you'll get some recommendations or something else to add to your TBR. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So the first book that I wanted to start out with is The Witch Haven by Sasha Payton Smith. This is a kind of more magical realism, not quite fantasy, maybe urban fantasy mystery about a girl whose brother died and she's trying to figure out how. She also discovers that she has magical abilities and she accidentally kills her boss at work, and these people supposedly take her away to an asylum which turns into being a witch academy. So I love the vibes in this book so far. It has the perfect dark academia theme that I love in books, which actually leads me to today's sponsor. Thank you so much to Likewise for sponsoring this video. I really love this app so much, you guys. I think you're gonna love it too. Like I said, I was halfway through reading The Witch Haven and I love it, and I was like, you know what? I think dark academia is just my perfect fall vibe. I absolutely love it so much. Sometimes I spend forever trying to find lists on Goodreads or online of like the perfect dark academia or the perfect Halloween books or the perfect this or that. What I love about Likewise is you can actually go on here and ask people for recommendations, which is what I did, and let me tell you, these people delivered. Even some of the recommendations I got are actually in my book haul today, which I thought was so cool. So here are some of the recommendations I got using this app, and I was so blown away. I found so many amazing books, and what's even better is you can actually buy these books straight from Amazon from the app, which is so cool. Like, you can't do that with Goodreads or any other app that I have tried to use in the past. I also love this app for how easy it is to navigate, how beautiful it is. It's just simple, but what I like even more about it is it's like Tinder. You can get what are called today cards. You can go on every day and you can swipe through different books, different TV shows. There's also movies and things on the app as well, but it's so cool because you can scroll through and check if you've read it, if you want to save it. It's just a really fun way to discover new books and highly satisfying to just be able to swipe and find those new books. So I went ahead and created a save list of all the dark academia books that I did get as recommendations. So you guys can go ahead and follow me at Liv's Library. Go ahead and download the app with the link below. It's completely free. So if you guys want incredible recommendations from such a wonderful, fantastic community, go ahead and download the app and I will see you over there. The next book that I decided to pick up is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This is not something I would typically go for, but I recently read Final Girl Support Group by him and I absolutely loved it. I love his humor, I love his satire, I love his writing, the suspense. I can't get enough of his work now and I want to read all of his books. I know this one is probably his most popular and I'm very hesitant as far as like the exorcism part goes, but I've heard it's actually more humorous and there's a lot of good lessons learned in this book versus like scary devilish, so I think I'm actually gonna enjoy this more than I think. In this book we have Abby and Gretchen who decide to go swimming one night, and after a disastrous swimming event happens, Gretchen is completely different. She's irritable, she doesn't act like herself, and Abby knows something is really wrong with her but isn't sure what. So after Abby starts to investigate a little bit more, she discovers some weird things. I'm not sure what those weird things are, but they're not sure if their friendship is actually powerful enough to continue to stay friends. I love a really good best friend dynamic. I think I'm really gonna like that part of this book, so I'm very excited to try to fit this one into my TBR this fall. And then I have here The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. You will probably notice a really big theme throughout this whole book haul is basically there's a lot of witchy books, which is my favorite vibe for Halloween and fall season. But with this book we have Clara, who apparently is an ever-witch. Most witches that are born in a specific season, whether it's fall, spring, summer, whatever, their magical abilities are tied to that season. I'm not sure if that means they're only magical during that season or what happens specifically with that, but I do know Clara is tied to all the different seasons. Each portion of this book, like each fourth, is dedicated to a season of the year, which I think is very unique and super cool. I've heard nothing about amazing, fantastic things about this book. I can only hope the story is as great as the cover. I mean, when you open it up and you look at the naked cover, it's just so beautiful. It's like dark cottagecore, dark academia in a way. I don't know, but I'm obsessed with this book and I really hope the story is just as good. Now this next book is probably my most anticipated of the year, if not like my top 3, honestly. That is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. I immediately put this on pre-order. I didn't even need to know what it was about because I loved Sorcery of Thorns so much. It is hard to find an actual like standalone fantasy that just blows you out of the water, and that one did. So immediately I knew that I had to get this book, and I also just realized the other day that there's no romance in this book, which I think is amazing because personally I'm not one that needs romance in every single one of my books, especially when it comes to fantasy. I'm way more excited and entertained by the magical world, politics, all of that kind of stuff versus romance. So if you're looking for romance, apparently there is none in this book, but I'm totally okay with that. It says Artemisia is training to be a Grey Sister, a nun who cleanses the bodies of the deceased so that their souls can pass on. Otherwise, they will rise as spirits with a ravenous hunger for the living. She would rather deal with the dead than the living, who trade whispers about her scarred hands and troubled past. I do not know what to expect from this book, other than spirits, spooky vibes, dead people, ghosts. It just sounds really good and really creepy and perfect for this season, so this is one of the top books that I'm going to be picking up ASAP. Starting us off with the adult section is The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. I actually just got this book yesterday. Perfect timing for this book haul. Oh my gosh, can we just have a moment for this cover? This is probably one of my all-time favorite Halloween spooky fall vibe book covers. This is so intricate. The more you look at it, the more there is. There's like a skeleton ring. I didn't even realize there was stitching in her wrist and in her hands. There's like an eye here underneath the jewelry part of it. I am absolutely blown away by this cover. And the actual story I don't know much about other than this is like a Gothic historical tale. I do know that people have compared it to Rebecca, Shirley Jackson. It's a Crimson Peak inspired story, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great vibes in this book. But I do know we have Jane, who is looking for an arranged marriage because of some financial issue that I'm not aware of or I'm not sure of, but she needs an arranged marriage. And so she finds this doctor, it's the doctor of their town. He's like, no, I'm not married, but I cannot marry, can't marry. He keeps turning her down. But then she's like, okay, I'm going to prove it to you. I am going to work for you. I know how to balance checkbooks. I am not queasy when it comes to doing nursing jobs and different things like that. So I'm not sure where the heck this is going to go. All I know is that this is going to be absolutely perfect for this season. And I know I'm gonna say this for every single book, but this one especially, it's such a mood. I actually read a couple pages already and I'm obsessed with it. So if you like Haunting of Hill House and kind of like historical creepy vibes, things like that, this is gonna be your jam. Of course, you all know I can't get away with doing a book haul and not talking about a thriller. So the most recent thriller I picked up is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I think this is a newer release if I'm not mistaken. I have seen it everywhere, literally everywhere, whether it's Goodreads, Twitter, Bookstagram, YouTube, literally everywhere. I've seen nothing but rant reviews and good rant reviews about this book. I do know this has 6 friends and there's a college reunion, but there's a mystery going on. And if that doesn't give you perfect dark academia vibes, I don't know what does. I do know that this book includes a timeline where it's past and present that flips back and forth, which personally I like because it keeps me turning the pages late into the night when I should be going to bed. I'm really excited to hear about that aspect of this book. I think that's gonna really enhance my experience. Some people don't love that, so maybe you'll have a little bit of a harder time getting into this one. I know nothing other than 6 friends, love a friend dynamic, murder mystery, out of college. I think it's gonna be great. This next book has been sitting on my TBR shelf for literally years, since the beginning of time when I started reading again. That is Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant, aka Shauna McGuire. In case no one knew that, she writes under this pen name as well. It has to do with a voyage, a crew of people that decide to go to the Marianas Trench to discover these so-called like sea creatures, which I think are like killer mermaids, but they never return. And so now we have Victoria, who wants to go and discover the Marianas Trench to see what the heck happened to her sister, if there is even these like crazy sea creatures, and she just wants answers. She wants to know what happened to her sister. This is gonna be crazy good. I have a feeling it's going to be crazy good. So it is a little bit chunky, it's a little bit longer, it's like 450 pages, but I am super stoked to read this. I feel like not a lot of people talk about it, but when I have heard people talk about it, they're like, oh my gosh, you have to read this book, like it's so good. So I'm very confident that I'm gonna love this one. And then I also have here The Ex-Hex, Erin Sterling, which is also Rachel Hawkins, which I just made that connection. I think she typically writes thrillers, like The Wife Upstairs maybe? I'm not sure. Anyways, yes, I got this one for my book of the month for October. Typically not into rom-coms, but I do know that this is like small town vibes. This girl puts a hex on her horrible boyfriend. I think it backfires in her face eventually, and it just overall sounds like a really good time. It's fairly short as well, like 300 pages, so I feel like I could sit down and read it in a couple sittings or over a weekend. Everyone's been talking about this as well, kind of seen mixed reviews, but I feel like this is just going to be a really good change of pace for me with all of these darker, maybe like more fast-paced books. This one will add like a little fun Halloween fluff to my stack. Another witchy book that has caught my eye this fall season is Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch. This definitely gives me Kiki's Delivery Vibe service. If she did not pull from that book or that movie as inspiration, I would be surprised, because this sounds exactly like it, which honestly was a huge deciding factor for me for picking this up. I have recently discovered a newfound love for Studio Ghibli movies, and Kiki's is my absolute favorite one by far. You even have like this, I don't know if this is like a fox, a bunny, a cat, I'm not sure what's on here, but she's even got her little pet, and I'm just so excited to dive into this book. Eva is supposed to become a novice witch. She's supposed to go through school, earn that rank, and if she doesn't by her 13th birthday, she will actually lose all of her powers. And when she overuses her powers, she actually just falls asleep, which I think is hilarious, and I know it's gonna be so heartfelt. I know I'm gonna love this. Apparently she goes to a town to try to do good and help these townspeople out, but they expected a super powerful witch and not someone like her. Hopefully that doesn't cause her too much trouble, but I am very excited to see where this goes. Another gorgeous middle grade book that I am excited to read. I mean, look at that moth on the naked cover. It's so pretty. This is The 13 Witches by Jodi Lynn Anderson. It's actually the first in a series, which is surprising because I don't think I've seen the second one out at all, so I think this is a fairly new release. So excited about this book especially. I feel like all of these I'm so excited about, but this one for sure I've had my eye on for quite some time now. We have this little girl named Rosie whose mother unfortunately lacks love for her daughter, which is a problem. I think it has to do with something magical going on, but Rose usually turns to stories for comfort, and one night she loses all hope, she gives up, and she's about to throw all her stories that she loves and distracts herself with away, until she comes across an invisible ally who helps her discover the Witch Hunter's Guide to the Universe, a book that claims that all of the evil in the world stems from 13 witches who are unseen but also unstoppable. I am so excited to read this. It sounds really high stakes for a middle grade. Like, something about it just really draws me in. Sounds like it's gonna have a lot of action. Very heartfelt mother-daughter relationship, which I also really love so much. I feel like this one's gonna hit me in the feels. So, and then lastly, I have 3 graphic novels here, which I'm a huge fan of graphic novels. There's so many great spooky fall ones, and this one is brand new to me. I've never seen this one before. It is called Spooky, which apparently was actually a web novel only online until recently, and they made this into a middle grade book. The artwork in this is so gorgeous. It ranges from like pastel colors to darker spooky vibes to so much is in this book, and it's really big, which I always get really excited for because graphic novels I'm always wanting more of. Like I said, I don't know much about this one at all because I just discovered it, but I do know that these are 2 twins and I believe they're witches. So there's a lot of magic, there's a lot of hijinks apparently, there's a dragon, a broken broom, a high-profile prisoner, and there's just a lot going on in this. I have no idea where it's going to take me, but I know it's going to be such a fun, great ride. And this one I've had my eye on for a long time. It is called Ghost by Raina Telgemeier. Zoe actually prompted me to pick this one up because I've been wanting to pick it up, but I wasn't seeing like a lot of my friends pick it up, so I was like, do I try it? Do I not? It's middle grade, so I don't want it to be like too cheesy. But I can say that I read this and I absolutely loved it so much. We have a family of 4. These 2 are sisters, and the younger one actually struggles with cystic fibrosis. So this family is moving across the states to a completely different town, completely new, and our older sister here is really having a tough time, an inner battle of just wanting to do what's best for her younger sister, but also having a really hard time just like making friends and adjusting. So a neighbor one day actually lets them in on a little secret, which is that there's actually ghosts that roam this town. So we have the younger sister who's obsessed. She's like, show me, I want to see all these ghosts. I don't want to give too much away, but it was so heartfelt and so good, and especially really good representation, I think, for cystic fibrosis, just to spread awareness. I did not expect that from this book. It was really good, and I highly recommend picking this up. Totally suitable if you guys have any young readers in your home. I love this. I can't talk about it enough. And last but definitely not least, I know for a fact this is going to be one of my all-time favorite graphic novels now, is Seance Tea Party by Ramina Yi. This is so cute. It looks so cozy. It definitely gives me Peter Pan vibes with the synopsis because it's about a little girl who really just does not want to grow up. She wants to keep imagining things and having fun, and even after all her friends grow up and go away, she's really sad. So this girl named Laura actually ends up making friends with a ghost that haunts her house, which sounds super cute. I mean, talk about the perfect imaginary friend, having a ghost haunt your house. I hope she's a nice ghost, but I'm really excited to see where this goes. Obviously, there's like a magical tea party involved. This looks like her grandma, possibly, so I feel like there's a lot that is going to be involved in this book. By just looking at the cover, there's a lot here to unpack, so very excited to read this one. Well, that is it, my friends. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about some really great fall books that I'm super stoked to get to. Even if I do not get to all these in October, I'm determined to roll them over into November and even December because I am obsessed with all of these books. I want to read all of them right now. I hope you guys got some great recommendations, maybe some new graphic novels you didn't discover before like me. And also, before you leave, please let me know your top anticipated book to read this fall is. I'm constantly adding fall books to my forever growing list of a TBR, so please feel free to share new books that you guys are excited about in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and thank you once again to Likewise for sponsoring this video. I hope you guys check it out in the link in my description, and I will see you in my next video.